GM. GM. Today is Monday, 27th of May. How are we almost 5 months through the year? That's wild. Fucking May went particularly quick, didn't it? As we head towards June and almost halfway through the year. Is this something to do with fucking the Large Hadron Collider at CERN? That's what the conspiracy guys would say, isn't it? They have fucked with time. Time and space. Anyway, we'll leave the conspiracies for another day. So Bitcoin, weekly close, solid in a consolidation, reclaiming key levels, bit of a wick on the weekly candle, closing below 69. So it opens up plenty of room for Bitcoin to consolidate further, pull back, chop around. And of course, if it breaks above 70, I would expect then a breakout would come. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin put a bit of a lower wick on this candle, maybe down into the 67, 66 area. Maybe not 66, but a bit of a lower wick before rallying up. So if you're looking at altcoins, the key thing I've said is buy the dip. That was what I mentioned in trading analysis, which is what I'm going to talk about today. ETH, strong, very strong close, 38.25, closing well above the resistance of this area here. Pumping straight off the weekly open, of course. Be mindful, it's just Monday, it's moving straight up. There's still 6.5 days left. And we can easily see some downside movements as well. But ETH is probably in one of these here marches where it's going to grind to a higher level, right? It's, again, I said this on Weekly Outlook, and I'll repeat it again. The ETF is not priced in fully for Ethereum because the news happened so recently, and the market's scrambling and trying to get itself sorted and trying to figure out, how much should ETH be actually worth. And we don't really know, and the market will decide that. And we're in this phase now where it's happening. So you want to look at it and say, my expectation is ETH probably goes quite easily to all-time high. But, of course, the way the market moves is it's not going to just catapult straight to all-time high in one candle, which is exactly what we want, by the way. So a little bit like Bitcoin, whenever Bitcoin broke out from 48k back in January, if you remember, after the ETFs launched, and then in January going into February, Bitcoin broke out from 48k over here. Let's go to the BTC one. Once Bitcoin broke out of that, we had the ETFs launch. Once this was confirmed to not be, a sell the news event, at that point, we was like, there's really no resistance to all-time high. You've got some resistance at 60, but then it's all-time high. And Bitcoin just went momentum all the way. And if you look at that, right, if you look at that zone, that area, from when it broke out to when it hit the all-time high, and you then look at lower time frames and put on some of your moving averages and your bands, I'll throw those on, the 50, 100, 200. And if you look on a daily, in that momentum move, the game was buy the daily bands retest. We broke out, consolidated on the bands, get long. We had the wick down initially, buy the first touch of the bands, trade it to a new high. That's what I mean by buy the dip. Now in between that, you go to a lower time frame. My next lowest time frame that I use is 4 hour. And in that case, you'd be looking at trading impulse moves off those 4 hour bands as well. You can see how Bitcoin held, so from the breakout and the first consolidation, Bitcoin held the 50 EMA all the way on the 4 hour, and it held a 4 hour uptrend in terms of the bands all the way too. It doesn't mean that it didn't have dips. See the dips down here? But one of the key things to look for in these trends is, do these strong sell-offs reclaim the 4 hour bands? That sell-off was so sharp and so quickly reclaimed that it didn't even break the 4 hour bands. So looking at something similar for Ethereum here, what I'm looking at is all-time high. I think at this point, all-time high is a matter of time. I don't think that this chart, if it was going to be a cycle top would look like this, right? Any odds of this being a cycle top have greatly, greatly reduced, which doesn't mean that it can't be one, but it's much, much, much lower. And obviously we've got the ETF. You've got all the hype, all the reasons to buy Ethereum going into the next, whatever, few weeks. And so when you look at buy the dip, you have to be looking at momentum and imagining that Ethereum is basically going to have momentum there to the all-time high. Okay? And on a weekly chart, it probably does look pretty much something like this. I don't even know if it goes down. I don't know. Let's imagine it looks like that on a weekly chart, right? You know, just like this move here. That's what that move looks like. It just goes pretty much one direction. But that's not going to get you many trade entries trading on a weekly. You're not really trading on a weekly chart here. You've got a clear target in mind, and you want to look at it on the lower time frames. So the most obvious that I think at some point we're going to see is a wick down into the daily 1221 bands, right? Ethereum's price is going to grind up and up and up, and it might go all the way there with no pullbacks. And then you might get the proper pullback at all-time high. If that happens, then fine, right? This is why we're long spot. And ETH BTC, I'll be swapping a bunch of Bitcoin into ETH very, very soon. I can probably go a little earlier than this, but I will stick to my rules. I want to see the bands going green. But as we get towards the end of this week, I'll probably be able to do it. Doesn't really concern me massively anyway, because I think Bitcoin will still do fine. I'm actually pretty bullish Bitcoin. And looking at ETH's move here, if you get a wick down into the daily bands, that's the perfect way to play it. If you don't, then you have to play a different trend. But don't be, this is why we hold spot, and this is why you don't try and over-rotate or constantly rotate between coins. If you're holding spot, like you should be, regardless of what you're holding, obviously, you should hope that it goes up. But most things in the next few weeks will go up. They might not go up right away. Ethereum will probably lead. Other stuff might lag. But the point is, if you're looking at the next few weeks, the best way to play it is to be long spot. It's to hold coins, whichever coins that may be, pick your sectors. And then if you're going to trade, your trading should be focused predominantly in one direction, which is long, from a swing perspective. And to do that, you're looking at how do you get entries. Really simple. Like, it is really, really simple, but it gets overcomplicated. You're looking for confirmed breakouts. Okay? The first thing I would say is expect false breakouts. Expect the first breakout to be a false breakout on any of these moves. So what does that mean? Well, Ethereum hasn't broken out yet. It's kind of pushed up to this area, and it's sort of double topped. I would expect that Ethereum probably breaks out first, hits 4K, people get overly excited, it comes back down, it goes below the 4-hour bands, but the 4-hour bands don't break, and then you buy it. This kind of pattern is extremely common, meaning the 4-hour bands will probably stay green all the way to all-time high if it's going to behave like Bitcoin did. And if that's the case, you don't want to buy when it's going up. You don't want to buy when it's above them. You want to wait until it tests the lower band, ideally goes below it, but doesn't break, just like this. Like, look at how much it went below the bands and didn't break. And then came back and retested and held them. And then buy at these areas. Remember, trading's easy, or easier, for the next few weeks, because you have a clear target in mind. It might be, I might be totally wrong, right? The market might not be going up, but this setup is one of the most obvious risk-on periods that we're going to get. It's one of the most obvious periods where everybody knows, let's just get long. And that will make the market go up. You don't have to be afraid about that. What you do need to watch out for is because when everyone gets long, there's going to be leverage shakeouts. And it's the leverage shakeouts that you want to buy. And that's why you want to look below where people think it can go. So people will put their stop losses here. So it's easy to see how price could break out. People get long. It comes back inside. It goes right down through their stops, through the bands, touches into here, and then holds. And as soon as you see it holding, you want to get in then. You want to take your longs after it's been below the bands, keep your invalidation below that, and trade it to the next level. If you do that, and you don't get obsessed about winning every single trade, you will do fine. It's not about winning every single trade. That's not possible. But look at how strong trends work. What does Ethereum do here? Ethereum goes below in a strong 4-hour trend. I'm just going to take off the bands. And I would suggest, this is basically a free system idea for you. I would suggest you go and backtest this yourself in 4-hour trends, right? Just go through the charts and trade things when they're in an uptrend. Well, don't trade them when they're in up. Trade them at all times, but obviously your winning trades will come in an uptrend. So assuming this is one, it goes below the 4-hour bands many, many, many times, right? Sometimes with multiple pushes and chop and even retests. And these are 4-hour candles. There is absolutely no rush. It's super, super, super easy to just do nothing and wait. Then it goes way below them. So we have a massive shakeout. This is probably going to come at some point. I don't think we've enough of a build-up of leverage yet, because that was on the 5th of March. I'm going to check that in a second. I'll show you. And in a really simple sense, it's just buy the dip. It's don't buy the obvious parts where everyone wants to buy, right? Everyone wants to buy here because it's pumping. Oh shit, FOMO. And what does it do? It just drifts back. Everyone wants to buy here because it's FOMO, and then it spends a couple of days chopping around, right? And just flushes and flushes and flushes, and then it goes again. So think about that, try it, test it out, whatever. Now, when are we going to get one of these big wipes? People I see are already worried about them, and that to me means there's no reason to be worried about it yet. I actually don't even think we're that close to having one of those moves. Maybe we are, but that was the 23rd of, oh, sorry, what was it, the 5th of May? Wasn't it? Yeah, 5th of March, sorry. I want to look at the borrow rates. 5th of March. And we'll look from the start of the year here. Right. On the 5th of March, this is what debt was looking like, leverage. On the 5th of March, people were paying 60% annualized, 50% annualized to borrow Tether, to borrow dollars. And that's where we're at today. I've covered this chart a bunch of times. The lower it is, the healthier we are. The lower it is, the less debt there is. Now, it's picked up. It's not back down at 10% anymore. It's up to, 16. But it's not at 60s, 50s, etc., etc., etc. So there isn't a huge amount of debt in the market. That means buy consolidations and buy dips. The problem most people face is not understanding just what a dip really is or what a consolidation is. Like, back to Ethereum here. This is not a trend on the 4-hour, right? This is currently a consolidation on the 4-hour. And it's currently at the range high. It's currently in the absolute worst place it could be for you to buy. You have no edge here. It hasn't broken out. So it hasn't actually confirmed a breakout, right? You haven't had the impulse candle yet. And you're at the highest point when the obvious place to buy is at the support, the lower point. And so when I say buy consolidations and buy dips, it means in a trend, if it's trending higher and you get a fast dip, you buy the dip, right? Dip into the bands. And if it's in a move up and it consolidates, it chops around for a while, assume that these are going to go higher, those consolidations. When you just see it like this, when you see it not going up, not going down, but going sideways for several days, this is from Tuesday to Monday, it's been up here now for 6 days, this is going to break out to the upside. That is the assumption you should make. Now, if you believe that, if you believe it's going to break to the upside because all the signs are pointing that way, how should you play it? You should not FOMO in at the highs. There is no system that tells you to buy right at resistance. That is the stupidest system ever. But people do it all the time because they can't help themselves. They're in pure FOMO. And so what do? Impatient people will buy here, and they'll put their stop somewhere there. That red line, this red line, or this red line. And the market knows this. And it's just going to go and flush them. Maybe flush that one, that one, that one. It's just going to go back to the place where you should buy, and then smart people will buy there. It's just what it's going to do. Maybe not this time, but if you take 100 of these breakout attempts, 70 or 80 of them are going to do this exact thing. They're going to not break out the first time. They're going to drop back, grab some stops, and then they're going to go. So all you need is patience. You just need to wait until it doesn't look so good on low time frames, right? And like right now, it looks great on low time frames. Oh, this looks amazing. Ethereum, it's just going up. It's been going up only since Friday. There hasn't been a pullback. I don't know. I can't wait. I have to get in. All these things are going to enter your head. You're going to want to do all these stupid things to FOMO because it looks good. But why not just wait? Because, remember, it's an uptrend. Why not wait until it looks bad? Right? Ethereum looked bad over here. And guess what? It went up. And the next time it looks bad, it will also go up. And the times it looks good, you'll FOMO in like this, and guess what? It won't go up. And suddenly you'll be like, oh shit. It's going to go down. It's going to go down. People are like, oh, it looks really bad here. Oh, it looks bad, does it? Boom, away we go again. Right? Don't know if it's going to go exactly there. You get my point. The point is, it's a fucking bull market. We've had all systems go. We've had the signal to get long. We've had the clear indication of when the ETFs are coming. We know the playbook. It happened with Bitcoin. Your only goal is to survive, to be long spot. And if you're trading, if you're adding swing trades or day trades or position trades, whatever trades, buy the dip and buy whenever other people are feeling pain. And that's it. GM.